Say we are measuring the height of a person. Now I ask, what is the probability that the height is exactly 170.001 centimeter? Not between a range, not approximately, exactly 170.001 centimeter. The answer here is 0 because height is continuous and it can take infinitely many values. So instead, we ask a better question. What is the probability that the height is between 169 centimeter and 171 centimeter? Now, this starts to make sense. And this is where the idea of density comes in. So the first topic that we're going to talk about is density versus probability. Since exact values have zero probability, we define something called probability density, written as P of x. Think of it like this. Density tells us how likely values are around x and not the probability of x itself. Remember, density is not probability. It tells how much probability is concentrated near a value. Now, look at the graph. The y-axis is the density, not probability. So, when the curve is high at some point, it means values around that region are more likely. Now, look at this interval A, B on x-axis. This is the range of possible values. In our example, it could be a realistic range of heights. In a context of Bayesian machine learning, x could be a parameter like a model weight. So here A, B means these are the values we believe are possible. Now the most important rule. The total area under this curve must be 1, which is represented by this formula. Don't focus on the symbol yet, but focus on the idea. In discrete cases, we add probabilities, but in continuous cases, we take area under the curve. So the reason between A and B, that entire area equals 1, meaning all possible values together is 100% certainty. Now take a single point on this curve. Let's say this particular point here. It has x as the value, like a specific height, and px as the density or the height of the curve. Even if probability of x here is high, it does not mean high probability at that exact value. It means values around that point are more likely. So instead of asking what is the probability of this exact value, we now ask how much probability lies in this range. And this shift is the foundation of how Bayesian models work with continuous values. Previously, we were looking at the shape of the curve, how probability is spread. Now we focus our shift to something more practical. How do we actually get probability from this curve? Think of the curve like a hill made of sand. If I ask you how much sand is between point A and B, you wouldn't look at the height of the hill at one point. You'd scoop the sand between 2 points A and B. That scooping is exactly what cumulative probability means. Now, there's an important identification here. Earlier, we used P of x, that was the density, the height of the curve. Now, we use f of x, that is the cumulative distribution function. So think of it like this. P of x tells you the height, while f of x tells you the total probability collected over a range. In simple terms, you can also say P of x shows the landscape and f of x tells you how much of that landscape you've collected. Now, here is the most important idea. In continuous probability, area equals to probability. Look at the shaded region between A and B. That area directly represents the probability that the value lies in that range. So if that area is say 0.25, that means there is a 25% chance that x lies between A and B. Now let's briefly understand this formula. At first glance, it looks very complex, but it's actually very intuitive. The A and B at the bottom and the top are the starting and ending point on the axis. So we're simply saying collect all density from A to B. But how do we collect it? Imagine breaking that region into infinitely thin vertical slices. So every slice has a tiny width and a certain height given by P of x. The integral just adds up all those tiny slices. So instead of thinking about the formula, just think how much total shaded area is between A and B. Now, here's where this becomes powerful in Bayesian machine learning. In Bayesian thinking, we often ask questions like, what is the probability that my parameter lies between two values? For example, say, I am 95% sure that this weight lies between 0.4 and 0.6. What does that mean? It means 95% of the area under the curve lies between 0.4 and 0.6. So what we are doing is exactly this. We are calculating the area under our belief curve between 2 points. So if you connect the previous note and this note together, previous note showed us the height of the curve, that is the density. This note tells us that the height alone is not enough. Width and area together gives us the probability. And in calculus, we call that an integral. But intuitively, it's just how much of the total space is shaded. We'll now formalize everything we've been building. And this is where things start to feel a bit counterintuitive, but very powerful. First, let's address something that usually feels wrong at first. F of x equals to A equals to 0. This is saying the probability that a continuous variable takes exactly one value is 0. For example, if I ask a question, what is the probability that the height is exactly 170.001 centimeter? The answer is still 0. The intuition here is simple. If you take a single point on the line, it is no width. And if it is no width, it is no area. And no area means no probability. And this is why, in practice, we never ask what is the probability that the weight is exactly 0.5. Instead, we ask what is the probability that the weight lies between 0.49 and 0.51, because only range gives us an area and area gives us the probability. Now let's define something very important, that is the CDF written as f of A. Again, don't worry about the variable name inside, just focus on the idea. Think of fx as a running total of probability. As you move from left to right along the x-axis, you keep collecting area under the curve. So at any point x, f of x tells you how much total probability you have accumulated so far. You can also think of this like a progress bar. At the far left or minus infinity, you've collected nothing. That means f of A equals to 0. And at the far right or plus infinity, you've collected everything. That is f of x equals to 1. So f of x always starts at 0 and ends at 1. Now comes the most important connection between everything we've seen. This particular formula here. This is the bridge between the density and the cumulative probability. So this is how you understand it. To go from P of x to f of x, we add up the area, meaning we integrate it. And to go from f of x to P of x, we look at the rate of change. That is, we differentiate it. The key insight is that P of x is the rate at which the probability is being accumulated at x. We'll take a very simple analogy here. Think of P of x as the speed of a car and f of x as the distance traveled. So if you want the total probability or the gap, you need speed into time. So density alone is not enough. You also need an interval. Now let's make this even more practical. This particular formula here looks very complex, but the idea is very simple. Take a very small interval around a point A in a curve. Because the interval is so small, the curve looks almost like a flat line there. So we can approximate it as a rectangle. Now, as you know, area of rectangle equals to width into height. So the probability is almost equivalent to the length or the total length from A to its left and right times the probability of A. And this gives us a very clear understanding. To get probability, we always need density times range. And this reinforces everything we've learned. A single point is zero probability. A single interval means small but meaningful probability. Density tells us how fast the probability is building up, and area tells us how much probability we actually have. So now everything connects. Density is like speed, cumulative probability is like the gap traveled, and the probability itself is always about an area over a range.